Davis. I'm currently CEO of Pearls for Teen Girls for another couple of weeks, and then I'm going to move on to a hugely important role for my professional growth, but that's neither here nor there, but for the city in terms of what we want to do for our children. I'll become the next executive director for Milwaukee Succeeds as of May 11th, so catching me in between, sort of. But I want to thank Mary Meehan. Dr. Meehan I feel like we have been kindreds from the day we met, and it was Dr. Meehan who asked me to be a part of the tour here in Milwaukee, and what an honor to talk to all of you and share with you something that draws us all together for the good, and that's the heart. So I really thank you, Mary, for asking me, and thank you, Dick and Tom, for having me as part of this forum today. And so my topic was I chose the topic of inspired servant leadership, purpose-driven yet humble for the opportunity, sort of to speak to my journey and what I think is something I'm most proud of in terms of Pearls and the alignment there. And so for as long as I can remember, and based on how I was raised, I have believed that it is God's will that each of us rises to the occasion, no matter how often needed, how grave the circumstances, or how great the needs are, and that we gain true fulfillment about our place in the world because of what we do to help others. This to me is the definition of being a humble servant. I also believe that as leaders, it is our chief responsibility to inspire those in our areas of influence to be their best selves, always striving to be honest and to carry ourselves with true integrity. And I've been so very fortunate to have had many opportunities to humbly serve while being purposeful and driving for impact in an inspiring way, so I'm told. So being a lawyer was a career goal since high school for me. This is because someone wise, probably a high school teacher, said choose a career that plays to your strength, and at that time, people were drawn to me, wanting to share their secrets and seeking a non-judgmental listening ear for help in resolving their problems. That's from the time I was a kid. That seems to be one of the things that happens all the time. So with no lawyers in my family or in my world at that time, I chose law as a career destination. However, while in my second year at UW-Madison, I decided that I didn't want to practice law necessarily, and that collective bargaining and labor management relations, seeking peace and agreement, was much more fulfilling. Thus, much of my career was spent in various government roles at the federal, state, and city levels, resolving labor disputes either as a neutral mediator or as the chief labor negotiator, as I was for the city of Milwaukee. And I understood that the power wasn't in beating the unions over the head with management's perspective, but rather to inspire both sides to listen and to seek solutions to our problems. The opportunity to have peaceful coexistence focused on delivering good service to taxpayers allowed us to find common ground whenever possible. So the common theme of building respectful, positive, and communicative relationships as a means of obtaining results permeates my career, whether in government, business, or more recently in the nonprofit sector. I learned how to be a better person by being open to others' points of view and by inspiring those with whom I worked with to be their best selves too. And when times get tough, and they do, being able to rely on the trust-based relationships to get through those times has been a salvation. Now I know this sounds way too good to be true. And I was excited to read an op-ed in the New York Times from David Brooks 2 Sundays ago that described how I believe I got to the point of being focused on what makes good relationships and what I can contribute to making the ones I have good. In describing the humility shift from what he calls the big me to one where humble people become ones who slowly build on an unfakeable inner virtue, David Brooks said, quote, "All the people I've ever deeply admired are profoundly honest about their own weaknesses," unquote. He went on to say that they have identified their core sin, whether it is selfishness, the desperate need for approval, cowardness, hard-heartedness, or whatever. And in that spirit of in that spirit of transparency about my journey, I have been quite open in communicating my lifelong commitment and struggle to be more patient with people who are not as driven as I am, or with people who chronically make mistakes. My other sin, if you will, is the need to be quicker to forgive. I've seen progress, and those close to me have as well, but I really do know that I am not where I need to be or want to be, either on the patience or the forgiving journeys. So with the backdrop of these learnings, I'd like to describe an example of a wonderful opportunity afforded me to truly practice servant leadership. A little over 9 years ago, I was given a blessing, an opportunity to succeed the founder of the wonderful nonprofit organization serving girls and teens in Milwaukee, Pearls for Teen Girls. I have completed a very successful career in the corporate sector, both at Kraft Foods and then Miller Brewing Company, now Miller Coors. So in about 2005, through prayer, meditation, and reflection, I began to accept the fact that my successful career in corporate was no longer fulfilling. I then began to embrace the pull. The pull that I was experiencing to do something more, give back more of that had been given to me, to the youth in our community. I had served on various boards and had been an avid and committed volunteer, and yet I knew that more was expected of me. I had renewed an old acquaintance with the founder of Pearls for Teen Girls, Colleen Fitzgerald. And as it turns out, while I was exploring options for a new career, serving youth and preferably young middle and high school girls, Colleen was feeling as though she had taken Pearls as far as she could go. So in 2006, I became the second leader of Pearls. This 9-year journey has instilled in me humility, because the circumstances of too many of our youth is steeped in poverty, crime, neglect, and poor educational options. Yet learning that our girls and teens are resilient, tenacious, and determined to succeed has been truly an inspiring experience. I have been joyful more than I've been gloomy, as every day I've had the pleasure and honor of leading this organization and seeing firsthand what our youth are capable of doing. So for those who don't know, PEARLS is an acronym. P is for personal responsibility, E is for empathy, A is for awareness, R is for respect, L is for leadership, and S is for support. That is what we believe, and that's what we do every day with our girls. And we focus on five foundational areas. Loving myself, which are activities geared towards self-esteem. Building healthy relationships at all levels for our girls and teens. Striving to achieve is primarily academic-focused activities. The sky is the limit, knowing that there's much more out in the world available to these young girls to help them become successful young women. And reminding them to focus on helping hands in the community, that they are all, each and every one of them, obligated to give back to those who need. So every year since I've been at Pearls, we've exponentially grown the number of girls we serve in weekly programming, with last year our having served 1,304 girls in 45 groups at 32 different sites throughout the city of Milwaukee. And over the last 6 years, their outcomes have been so exceptional and inspiring. 99% choosing to avoid pregnancy, 95 to 97% of our high school seniors graduating on time, 91 to 97% of our seniors being accepted to at least one college, and last year of those accepted, 60% actually enrolled. These achievements are stunning and exciting given the barriers overcome and the very real challenges that they face daily. And I'd like to take my last couple of minutes to tell you a story as an example. So Asti will be next year a senior at Marquette University. Astiana is her name, was a Pearls girl and a Pearls team facilitator, which means that she was part of our part-time team supporting the work we do with girls, particularly focused on middle school. And then when she got accepted to Marquette University, she was is also a junior program coordinator, which means that she gets paid a little bit more autonomy, and she's working with the high school level girls as a part-time job for her. and a full-fledged member of our team, because we don't have a hierarchy of Pearls for Teen Girls. When Austin was a sophomore, unfortunately her mother, who was not really active in her life throughout most of her growing up, had something unfortunate happen, resulting in Ostiana being overnight responsible for her 4 siblings. And 2 of whom her first task was to, on a Saturday, mother's no longer available. On Monday, she has to enroll her sisters in school. And she comes to Milwaukee Academy of Science, happens to arrive at the same time our director of programming arrives to meet with a site partner. And she says, "Miss Jerry, unfortunately, I think I'm going to have to drop out of school because I got to take care of my siblings." And Jerry said, like she should say, "Oh, no, you won't. We'll figure it out." And the short version is that we were able to help her through our relationships break through the red tape, because Ostiana was not a legal guardian, able to help her get her sisters enrolled in school and at the same school. And today, both of those young ladies are in Pearls, and today Ostiana will be a senior. And today Ostiana was admitted to an internship at Harley-Davidson a year in advance, so she will be in a paid internship this coming summer. And today, Ostiana is just one of the most fabulous young women we could ever imagine, and we can be excited about her future. And I want you to know from the bottom of my heart that Ostiana is just one of many. She is not unusual. She is what our community is capable of. And so as servant leaders, our ability to inspire those around us, as has been said earlier, is truly of benefit and gives us experiences that we will never ever forget, but also inspires us to do more. I think it just sort of perpetuates itself. So chief among the ingredients for success of our girls is the exposure to inspiring teammates, role models, leaders, volunteers, and successful people, all who are rooting for their success. I'm so very proud of the girls and alum who are taking their rightful place in society, prepared to build a better world. So I will forever be grateful for the opportunity to lead with grace, purpose, and humility. And I look forward to being open to what more I can do. And I thank you for your time.